Hey everybody, hope you're doing great. Oh my goodness, welcome to the weekend roundup here. Bridge School Online, Bridge Gaming, me, Jacob, Rice JD. I don't care what you call me. My name is Jacob and that is fine, but Rice JD is the gamer tag and that's what I've been going by for a long time. JD, Jacob Dean. I was applying for law school when I first created that gamer tag. Rice is more like rise. The German word for traveler is Reisender. My German is not great. I probably don't pronounce that quite the right way, but Reisender, Rice JD, and it's just been kind of funny to hold on to for years because I lived in China for 2.5 years and people are like, oh, rice. Okay, it works. It makes sense. But anyway, hope you're all doing great. Look, if you haven't checked out the map yet, look, fancy effects now. I had some time to work on the stream this week, so I added just a few things to make it look a little better. But what you can do is you can scan that QR code right there. If you scan it, it will take you directly to just the map. It will take you to the map on Minty, and you're able to tap on the map where you are in the world, and you can submit that once you're happy with your tap. Now, if you're on a phone, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. But as you can see, there's somebody, it looks like they live out somewhere in the South Atlantic Ocean down this way. I'm assuming this is someone from Brazil, possibly Argentina, but just be careful with that. You do get the option to move it before you submit it. So anyway, this just helps keep a little log, a fun little log of where people are coming from and what people are doing. This week, we talked about character. I had quite a few lessons on character and personality this week. So we're going to go through a few useful idioms, some fun idioms, and a couple of really interesting questions that I came across this week from students, or just questions that we asked in class that got interesting answers. They received interesting answers. The first idiom here, have you ever heard this? A heart of blank. Can you think of what might go in the blank? In blank number one. A heart of... If you take the first example, a person who is very kind has a heart of what? A heart of... What material do you think their heart can be made of if they're very kind? I'll put these in the chat as we go along. I forgot to go back this morning and add the answers to the sheet where I could click it and it would pop up. So we'll add it here in chat. I'll put number one, a heart of gold. This was the idiom that was directly in our lesson this week. You have a heart of gold when you're very kind and you're caring. You might put someone else's troubles ahead of your own. Often people with a heart of gold don't take care of themselves as much as they take care of other people. Try number two here. Someone who is inflexible and unkind has a heart of what? A heart of inflexible, unkind. The heart doesn't bend very well. They're not someone who's warm, that's easy to get to know. Any guesses? Oh, I forgot to add my clickable responses. Has a heart of stone. Number two is stone. Oops, what just happened? What are you doing? Back up there. A heart of stone, number two. The third one, an individual without empathy, compassion, or love has a heart of... Now you might think stone works here too, but stone is inflexible. Flexible is bendable. Can you bend it? Does it move when you apply pressure to it? An individual without empathy, they don't understand other people well. They don't try to. They have no compassion, no love. The heart is cold, you might say. It's a heart of, what do you think? Heart of ice. They have a heart of ice. Somebody with a heart that's easy to break has a heart of what? A heart of what's something breakable? If you're carrying this through the house, if your mother asks you to pick something up and bring it to her, and it's made of this, she's worried you might drop it and break it. A heart of a window is made of this. You throw a baseball, it hits the window, it breaks the window. A heart of glass. A heart of glass is the fourth one. So somebody with a heart that's easy to break has a heart of glass. There's someone that you can very easily hurt their feelings. The fifth one, folks who often hurt others are said to have a heart of, these are people that when you get close to them, you have to watch out because they might hurt you in some way or another. They have a heart of, it could be, we could expand this and say they could be a beautiful person, a person you want to be around or be near. But if you reach out and you touch them or you grab them, they might hurt you. You pull your hand back because it's not safe. A rose. They're like a rose. What does a rose have on the stem? If you grab a rose, it has these little spikes, thorns, a heart of thorns. So let's read through these one more time, and then I'll talk about why I chose the subject for each of these sentences. A heart of blank. A person who is very kind has a heart of gold. Make sure you practice these at home. Someone who is inflexible and unkind has a heart of stone. An individual with empathy, compassion, or love has a heart of, remember, it's very cold, ice. A heart of ice. The fourth one, somebody with a heart that's easy to break has a heart of, remember that window that got hit with a baseball, a heart of glass. Folks who often hurt others are said to have a heart of, you grab a rose, it hurts your hand. It's beautiful to look at, but you have to be careful when you touch it. A heart of thorns. These were 5 different materials we came up with this week that a heart could be made of in this expression, in this idiom. There are many others. You can be very creative with this and make up your own. Someone in class this week said, I don't have a heart of gold, but I have a heart of silver, which I thought was an excellent high-level use of this idiom because they chose silver instead of gold. Silver is a little bit less valuable than gold. They both have value. They're both materials, metals that people seek to have jewelry made of to give to their loved ones, right? So a heart of silver means that her heart isn't perfect. It's not a heart of gold, not quite, but it's still valuable. It's a heart of silver. So that's a little bit of spicy vocabulary to start you off here. A heart of blank is a very useful and very diverse idiom that you can use. The reason I chose the different subjects for these sentences, these are just different ways of saying a person. Instead of saying a person who, someone who, these are the first 2 subjects that would come to mind in a sentence like this. A person who, someone who. You can also say an individual who, somebody who, folks who. So these are some ways you can vary your subjects in your sentences when you're talking about one person or you're talking about one entity, right? An entity being a person or a thing. So this is a very, very useful way of diversifying your writing and diversifying your speaking as well. This idiom, though, very flexible. A heart of iron. If it's a very strong, very stout heart, a heart of iron, a heart of fire, a heart of darkness. Heart of Darkness is one of my favorite books that we read it was high school required reading, I think, here in the US. So a long time ago, 1998, I believe is when I first read that book. A Heart of Darkness. Okay, again, if you're just joining us, make sure you check out this Minty map. You can scan the QR code and the map will come up on your phone. There's no login information required. You don't need anything to log in or give any information to log in. It will just directly go to this map and you can select where you are and submit it, and we can all see this when you do it. All right, so another word we use this week is the adjective open-minded. Open-minded. Can someone tell me what the opposite of open-minded is? If you have an open mind, you're willing to listen to other people and consider new ideas, suggestions, and opinions. You're open-minded. The opposite of open-minded is closed. Closed-minded. I keep saying closed. Close-minded. So open-minded, you're open to people, to new people. You're open to new experiences. Close-minded. And again, notice I said closed-minded a couple of times, but close-minded is what you want to say. It's very easy to say closed-minded, and I don't think anyone's going to really catch that if you say it. Most people will say closed-minded and move on, and we don't really think, did he say close-minded or closed-minded? It's really not going to matter in the end. For spoken English, for written English, I would say go with closed-minded. Closed-minded. But in speaking, no one's going to stop you and say, hey, did you mean closed-minded? No one's going to care. The questions we asked this week: is the new generation more open-minded than the older ones? If any of you have any thoughts or ideas, let us know in chat here on Twitch. Is the new generation of people more open-minded than older ones? I'll give you all just a moment to take a look and think about this question. Type your answers there in chat. Let me know what you think. You know, as this group grows, as we have more people watching at one time, there'll be more interaction in chat. Right now, I know there are only a few people watching. I know it's a new stream, and I don't have any expectations it's going to grow like gangbusters in the next week or two. So make sure you check these on their post-stream recordings. It's posted on Twitch. It'll also be posted on the YouTube, so you can check out the socials there. If I pop this up, oh, I can show it to you later. We'll do that later. But you can also go and type in !socials. And I need to update these, but most of these are still viable. The YouTube channel definitely is viable. Really, that's the only one that I'm going to use going forward from this list. I'll use that YouTube link there for my YouTube channel. And all of these videos will go on YouTube afterwards. I'll have some clips and other things posted eventually too. I'm a one-man show, so it takes me a little time to produce everything. But the second question, what factors lead to being more open-minded? What are some things that exist in our world, some conditions of being alive now versus being alive in the past that lead us to be more open-minded? I'll go ahead and talk about the first question here for a few minutes. Most people say, is the new generation more open-minded than the older ones? Most people say, yes, it is. And I ask, why? The answer, why? Technology. The fact that we can sit here and we can communicate this way. People from all over, just a few people who've seen this stream and been in here before, you can see someone, again, is like, someone looks like they're from probably Brazil. My guess is Brazil. And then we have a few people from European countries as well. Looks like, is that Finland or is that Sweden? I always get these mixed up. And then somebody from, I think that's Germany. Looks like that's Germany to me. I would guess this and this. These two are probably accurate. But anyway, we can communicate with each other across these great distances so easily. I can broadcast this on Twitch, and it has the potential for people in all of these regions. You can still see my cursor here, but all these regions to see this broadcast. And that's an amazing change. So a lot of ideas can be transferred, a lot of ideas can be shared, and cultures can be shared, you know? New information can be shared, can be discussed. It's not that we're good at it yet. We're still learning how to do this in a socially responsible way and to respect each other, because you can watch other Twitch channels and you'll see people come in and say the most ridiculous things in chat because they're hiding behind their computer monitor, right? See, here I am. You can see me. I'm not hiding behind a monitor, right? This is my camera. This is my face. And this is where I live, right? So, you know, it's a little difference when you can actually be seen and you're exposed. But most people are saying the new generation is more open-minded because their world is more open. I had one person say, and I thought this was really interesting. This person was from somewhere in the Middle East. That's all I'm going to say. They're somewhere in this area that I'm circling, right? This person said they think that people are not necessarily more open-minded. And I said, why? Because everyone else during the week said people are more open-minded. And they said, well, we have good technology. We can all talk to each other. But sometimes the new generation has a different form of closed-mindedness. They're closed-minded because they accept a lot of information. They know they have access to a lot of information, and they think that the information they're reading is the absolute correct, right, true, genuine information. They think that other people's views, other thoughts, other beliefs are just wrong because they have more access, they're more exposed from an early age. And I thought that was really interesting. Again, coming from somebody who's in this region of the world, which does still experience a certain level of, what do I want to call this? Controlled communication. Let's call it controlled communication. There are some regions in the world that have controlled communication, right? You might catch my drift. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say where I'm thinking about, but if you were watching that cursor, you might just understand what I'm saying. But they said, again, the younger generation, and we see this in the US, this is probably I'm an old millennial. I'm almost Generation X, but I'm still considered a millennial. I was born in 1983. And sometimes I look at the arguments people make on Reddit, on Twitch, on Twitter, all of these different social media platforms where people make an attempt to discuss something and they say, no, you're wrong. It's like this. And then they'll offer up a research paper and say, can you show me a research paper? Can you cite that? Which sounds intelligent. The idea is going in the right direction. But the problem is that what they do is they search for one research paper or one leg of research that backs up what they're saying. The one thing that backs up what they're saying, they cite that. And they don't expect you to read it or know anything else about it. But to understand something in research, you have to read many research papers. We're talking dozens of research papers about the same topic from different viewpoints so that you can understand the whole problem that they're researching. And I thought what this person said was absolutely fascinating from their region of the world. And I don't disagree. I'll tell you honestly, I don't disagree. Sometimes the more information we have access to doesn't mean we have access to the right information, or it doesn't mean that we know how to discern and choose the information that is best for us to read or that we need to read to challenge ourselves. Interesting thoughts. What factors lead to being more open-minded? Most likely, the internet. This is the number one thing that's led to people being more open-minded. Again, greater connectivity, greater exposure to thoughts, greater exposure to ideas. You don't feel as trapped by your local community, especially in places where communication is controlled more so than in the US. And even here, to an extent, communication is controlled a little bit. It happens everywhere. In the past, if you come from a small town, like I did, I came from a small town, and there was a limited flow of information. We had some smart teachers in high school who taught us lots of things, taught us to research, taught us to think about things, but they still had specific ideas that they would teach and pass on. And then you move to a different location in the US or anywhere else in the world, and you might hear a different narrative about the topic you were discussing at your old school. And you might think, well, what they're saying is wrong. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, right? So we have this wealth of information and ease of access with the internet that we never had before. When I was a kid, I think I was 16 years old. Sounds right. I think I was 16 when my family got the internet. We had access to the internet with America Online, along with many, many, many other families around that same time. This would have been, what, 1996-ish? In the ballpark. 1990, no. Hold on. No, that's wrong. It would be more like 1998, 1999. 1998, 1999, I believe, is when we had access to the internet in my house. And I got my first computer that was this tall. It was probably 3 feet high, massive box, and like 100th or maybe even 1,000th at this point of the memory that my PC has now that is only this big. It's unbelievable how much that's changed. All right, let's move on to the next word. Genuine. Genuine. I did say this word earlier. Genuine means that it's authentic. It's real. If something or someone is genuine, they are real and authentic instead of fake or false. It's real. You know you're getting the real deal. I hope when you watch this stream in the future, I hope you see this lesson and you see that I'm being real. I'm talking to you. I have no agenda other than helping people work on their English. And right now, it's not a busy chat, so I'm talking to myself. Completely realize that. And realize too, this is awkward. It's a little bit awkward just talking to yourself. I've recorded a ton of video lessons, so I'm kind of used to it. But at the same time, even I, with the experience of doing this for so long, I still feel a little awkward just talking to myself online, right? But it's a good skill to have. It's a very good skill to have. Genuine. Genuine conversation, genuine discussion, genuine questions. As an example, I had a friend back in my college days. This guy enjoyed his college life. Let's say that. You know what that means. He enjoyed his college life every weekend. The guy used to come, and he did this more than once. He would come to the door of my other friend's apartment, and we'd be like, oh, I think so-and-so is here. And he'd come to the door, look through the peephole. On a door, there's a little peephole you can look through to see who's outside. So you'd look out, you just see this big eyeball, right? Because it's like a little magnifying glass. There's his eyeball. And he goes, guys! And you knock on the door, guys! We wouldn't let him be like, hey, what are you doing? He goes, hey, I want to get in. It's cold. This was in the mountains of North Carolina, so it was cold, it was wintry, and he's banging on the door, and he just stands back. Just stands back like this, smiles really big, and he goes, I am real. Like that. And he just stood there. He froze with his hands in the air like this. We were all dying laughing inside with this guy. I am real. I'm genuine. How important is it to be genuine in today's world? If you're watching the stream, let us know in chat what you think about being genuine in today's world. Do you think it's easy to be genuine in today's world? Do you think it's difficult? Do you think it's becoming easier or becoming more difficult? My opinion, in a lot of ways, it's becoming more difficult to be genuine in today's world. We have lots of access, lots of ways to communicate, but I feel like social norms in every country are becoming stronger, and the in group and out group, as we call it, and social science research. The in-group and out-groups are shifting, but becoming stronger in a lot of ways. If you're not in the in-group, you are in the out-group. And if you're not in the in-group, you don't have the same opportunities or access to as many friends in the social circles. So in-groups and out-groups are changing and tend to be a little bit. Look at the political system in the US. I'm going to not go into this in depth at all. But if you look at the political system in the US, we have in-groups and out-groups all throughout. Republican in-groups, out-groups, Democrat in-group, out-groups, and they're very strong. And some of them have a lot of support and say some absolutely nonsense things. But if you don't agree with those things, you leave the in-group and you're now in the out-group. Same thing with just social circles in schools. You can look at elementary school, middle school, high school, university, doesn't matter. Look at the job. Look at the workplace. Same thing. In-groups and out-groups. If you're in the in-group, you're just flowing. You're chilling. You're just hanging out, right? You walk in, everybody's your friend. They know you. People get along. It's great. If you're in the out-group, don't talk to that guy. He's weird. Something's off about this guy. Which maybe it is. Maybe something is off about this guy. But sometimes it's just that you don't have the same experience, same belief, same understanding of the world as this so-called in-group. It gets complicated. And you can take that, like I said, into politics, and you can talk about in-groups and out-groups. We could be here for, I don't know, another hour and a half probably talking about this. My students said that being genuine is really important. And that's a very nice thing to hear in today's world where it feels like in-groups and out-groups are changing, becoming stronger in a lot of ways. When people say that, and it's people, in the US, we would think, oh, we're genuine. Sometimes. I think a lot of times here, our culture keeps us from being genuine. We're taught not to be, especially I feel like as men in the US, we're taught not to be genuine. Don't feel emotion. Don't discuss everything that's on your mind. Only discuss these certain topics, do these certain things, like these certain things. But if you genuinely enjoy something else, and it's not something the in-group enjoys, it's a fast track ticket to the out-group. But people from, I would say, South America, my students from the Middle East, and quite a few of my students from Europe, all agreed that it's important to be genuine in today's world, especially with so much information coming through the online environment, always having access to news, always having access to other people. It's important to be genuine and not become, you look at social media. A lot of them use social media as an example. I asked if they thought people on social media were mostly genuine. The majority of people, my students, said no. And again, my students, when I say students, you might think kids, high school kids, college kids. No, my students refers to a range of people from the youngest one that I know is 20. So 20, the oldest I know is 72. So between 20 and 72, all of these people say it's important to be genuine. People on social media generally aren't genuine. Now, Twitch streamers, I feel like on Twitch, you come across some silliness, but I feel like it's often genuine silliness. Like this is the person's personality that you're actually seeing. Minus certain streams that include water and you know what I mean. You know exactly what I'm talking. I think that's all I have to say. Warm water. You know what I'm talking about. Anything like that, probably not genuine. Probably not genuine. It's to get your views. It's to get your money. Yeah. Same thing, Instagram. Same thing, TikTok. Is the person you're seeing on this TikTok live, are they genuine? Maybe. Sometimes. Do you think you can tell when they're genuine or not genuine? Maybe. Not sure. I feel like sometimes I go with my gut, and most of the time, I feel like I can tell if they're genuine or not. Because some people just give me that feeling, But genuineness. Is it important for us to be genuine so that other people are genuine around us? I don't know. This was kind of the argument was some people would say, no, we can't be genuine because of our society or because of our culture. It holds us back. And again, from those certain regions of the world I mentioned earlier, this was true. But they also, people from those regions of the world, they also were the ones who most frequently said, we need to be genuine. We should be genuine so we can show who we are to other people in the world. I just thought that was fascinating. All right, and this week's question of the week: how does modesty relate to self-confidence? Can someone be modest and still have a strong sense of self-worth? This is a good question. I think this is a great question. People had a really good time with this one. I got a lot of answers and a lot of thoughts. Most people said that modesty and self-confidence go hand in hand. They go together. When you're modest, it means that you have enough self-confidence that you don't need to show people that you're the best at everything. You're humble. You can let your actions, you can let your performance speak for itself. You don't need to talk about it. And these people would say that if you were really self-confident, you're able to help other people improve themselves, to bring up their level. As my Asian students say often, say they can bring up their level, they can increase their level. And I mean, I agree completely. Can someone be modest and still have a strong sense of self-worth? Being modest doesn't mean that they're timid. It doesn't mean that they're shy. It doesn't mean that they are lacking confidence. When you're modest, sometimes your sense of self-worth is so high that you just know you don't have to show off and be boastful in front of other people. That's what most of my students said this week. Again, I completely agree. A few got the word modest, got the word humble, mixed up with the word timid. These aren't the same concepts. If you're timid or if you're humble, it doesn't mean that you're timid and shy. Just because you're timid doesn't mean you lack self-confidence necessarily. Now, it's often used that way. Often in English, we'll say that you're timid, so you're not confident. That's not exactly true. Timidity is just not being completely forthright. You're not stepping out and making yourself the highlight of the conversation. You're timid, you're waiting, you're listening, you're paying attention to people. You might be a little bit shy, or maybe you're just reserved and quiet and waiting until you've warmed up, to use a phrasal verb. Warmed up to. I'll put this in the chat. Warm up to. When you warm up to someone, something, or a situation, you get used to it. You become more engaged with it. So there we go. It's a little more spicy vocabulary here coming up below. Humble, humility, timid, arrogant, boastful, prideful. All of these, of course, are leading towards the positive side. Humble, humility, timid, where these words are a little more negative. Arrogant, boastful, prideful. Arrogant, you think you're the best at everything. Boastful, you're always talking about how you're the best. And prideful, you think too highly of yourself. You're full of pride about your achievements and things that you've done. And you're always comparing yourself to others and trying to make them sound like they're worse than you. Tell me how often this has happened to you in school or in the office. Some people want everyone else to feel worse about themselves so that they feel better about themselves. You have to ask yourself, is that person really self-confident? If they want people to feel weaker, if they want them to feel less confident, is that one person really more self-confident? Or are they actually less self-confident and trying to bring people down to their level? This is the question to ask yourself. All right. That's basically it for the weekend roundup. our weekly roundup for this week, I wanted to say one more thing. This word. When you talk about metals, you can use the word tarnish, the verb to tarnish, and often we'll say tarnished. We use the past tense. Let me make sure I spelled that correctly. Got it. So, to tarnish, tarnished. When a metal gets old, it starts looking a little bit dirty, like all my watches upstairs. You know what? You can't really see it. This is one of my favorite knives I picked up in Argentina years ago. It's actually not tarnished. It's stainless steel, so it shouldn't tarnish easily. Stainless steel does tarnish too. No, perfect. I've got this little Buddha head, right? I picked this up in Western China. I walked through a train station with this in my bag, and I went through a scanner. They thought I had a bomb on me. The police officers moved me to the side. I had my hands in the air. They went through my bag. Everyone started laughing when they pulled this out, but it was a really tense situation at first. And for me, it was terrifying because I was in Xinjiang walking around. This is not a place I want to get in trouble if I'm going to get in trouble in China, right? But this little face you can see, it used to be, I think it's pewter. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it smells like pewter to me. But the face used to be shiny and silvery, right? Like very nice shined pewter. Now it's quite dark. It's tarnished. If I got some tarnish remover cream, I could remove this tarnish. So we'll often say when you have a heart of gold as a child, or, at any point, if you have a heart of gold, maybe you're too nice to other people. Maybe these people don't treat you well. Maybe they don't respect you. Maybe they do something bad to you. So your heart loses its shine, right? It's no longer a pure heart of gold. The heart becomes tarnished. And maybe you need some help from somebody to help remove some of that tarnish. Understand? So your heart of gold can become tarnished. It doesn't mean that at the base, your nature is still to have a heart of gold. It just means that you're a little bit uneasy around people, or a little bit slower to let your heart of gold show to other people. Tarnish. All right. That's the last main concept, main word I wanted to go over today. I believe everything else I touched on pretty well. Again, if you're watching this post-stream, we've had a few people stop in chat, but not many comments today, not many questions. That will change. That will change. I used to do this on iQiyi in China a long time ago. And long time ago being 2016, 2017, sometime around there. And we had 4,000 people easy watching. I had 4,000 students at one point with my little school in China. And we had every one of them watching along with, a few extras sometimes. And people would just come in, the chat was flying, and it was so difficult to keep up with, but it's so much fun having all these questions and all of this chatter. I enjoy that very, very much. So I look forward to the day when this is busier. Please, if you're not following, make sure you drop those follows. Let's kick over to this talk box here, and I can test out my new graphics over this way. Everything should be up. I think we got the little follow button. Boom, boom. So if you're not following, make sure you click that follow button. I thought I had that follow button. Oh, well, that's self-explanatory, though. We do have this, though. Little announcement board down here. If you're not following the socials, these are the 3 I'm going to be using. Discord, you put, to get the link right away, right now. I'll do it for you. Exclamation point, Discord. Boom. There's a link to the Discord. Join that. You'll notice I have some gaming sections, and then I also have some English-related sections. Feel free to leave questions. Feel free to leave comments. If you're looking for live lessons, up here in the corner, English at the Ready. We have an English club right now with 120 students, active students. We are growing all the time. March 30th, we're going to start our rolling admissions, so the club will just grow exponentially from that point. You can also check out English at the Ready on Instagram. That is my partner, business partner. When you say partner nowadays, it doesn't just mean business partner, does it? You have to be careful. But my partner's over there on English at the Ready. on Instagram. Lots of good English content. He's the social media superstar. Me, I'm a genuine teacher. I'm somebody who cares about other people, and I want to build bridges, hence Bridge School Online, bridge gaming between people and cultures, education, the language, all of that. On Instagram, I have RiceJD_Bridge Gaming, and on YouTube at BSO Bridge School Online _RiceJD. I need to double check that and make sure that that's accurate now. YouTube took 2 of my accounts a few years ago and slammed them together. And every once in a while, it reverts my username back to a hyphenated version. No, it's hyphenated. Either a hyphen or an underscore. It's a version of a combined version of the old name and the new name. So I need to double check and make sure that this is still accurate. Follow here. Like I said, YouTube, I'll be posting all of these classes, all of these recordings there as well. You can watch them on Twitch. Twitch, I believe, saves them for 30 days. YouTube, they'll be there permanently. So if you want to catch an old lesson, make sure you check out the YouTube. Follow there. And I also have some YouTube shorts I upload sometimes, some education shorts. Instagram, there's going to be more and more Instagram post content that I'll place on that Instagram. But again, I'm one person. It's Sunday night. It's Sunday mornings. I get up very early. I teach Monday to Saturday. I have about, how many classes do I have now? 36 classes during the week, I believe, total. 36 classes, and then minimum of 8 hours class planning, graphic work, and other stuff that I'm working on for all of it. So yeah, by Sunday night, it's time to hit the hay, guys. It's time to go to sleep. But please, check us out there, join, check out Discord. The best way to contact me is through Discord. If you want to ask a question, if you want to ask an English question, do it in the Discord, because I always have that up. It comes through my phone. I can answer it relatively quickly. I'm not going to say right away, because I might not answer right away. I have lots of other questions and messages to respond to through our Kajabi page that we use with English at the Ready. So there's always questions there that I'm answering, but the Discord's a good place to ask. And please, check us out. English at the Ready, Instagram, RiceJD, Bridge Gaming, Instagram, and hit us up on the Discord. I'm about to start rambling, so I'm going to go ahead and close it out for the night. I'm getting tired. This lets me know a few things I need to do for tomorrow. If you did not check out the map, please scan that QR code when you rewatch the video. The map I leave up on my PC, so it should be a presentation that's always active. You could add this at any point throughout the week. It's always going to be up. Everybody take care. Good to see the ones of you who stopped in. Thanks for those new follows. And I'll see you all next weekend. Hopefully, next weekend's a little bit easier. Things have been a little bit quieter. And I'll tell you what, it's been a busy, busy week. Signing out for the week. Catch you guys soon. Bye-bye.